And we're live. Hi everyone, this is Amateur Gamer, and now we're returning to Civ 5 Vox Populi. And this will be a kind of a different series. What I want to do is, for those who do go to the forum often, you'll know that the new beta version is out, the March 14th one. And the purpose of this video, I'm not sure if I could fit it all into a single video, at least that's my hope, is to talk about the changes to the best of my abilities. I mean, I'm not gonna be like an expert, so I will have to try my best to basically show what changes that have been made. And there have been some big changes, and what I'll do is I will go through the change log bit by bit and then try to showcase some of the things that have been changed. And I can tell you that happiness have been changed dramatically. And I mean dramatically. It's not a tiny change, it's a pretty big change. So first, there's always performance improvements, and of course the AI have to be taught the new model. The new happiness model. Because one thing you have to remember is that since happiness changes, the AI has to learn how to use it. So currently the game you're looking at is not frozen. It will be real time. I just have my browser open because I'm reading the change logs. But essentially I started a game, no mods, just purely the beta version to showcase a few of the changes. There have been a few religion changes, so I do want to change that up. I mean, I picked India, I picked the easiest difficulty so I could get my, I also picked like, what's the pace? Quick. So turn 37, I got my great profit. How else am I gonna show the religion, right? So I mean, religion is not the first one. So first UI, all happiness, UI elements given a complete overhaul. So we'll look at that now. So right now, instead of like previous, we just have a number. Right now we have a percentage. So very happy you get 100%. And then what happens is there are increments. Let me check what the increments are. So increments 100%, no benefits, no penalties. Cities gain local happiness or unhappiness modified normally. Global happiness buffs to science, etc. gone. Okay, I see. So in the past, let me see. So in the past, what happens is happiness gives you more science. Like if you have a certain amount of science, it will add a percentage. I don't know what the percentage is. But before it's like if say I have 10 happiness, it will give like under the 10.04 science from cities, you also plus a certain amount from happiness. The same for culture. Not faith, but I think I mean golden age is also a bit different because right now you don't have a number. Before it's like if you have say 10 happiness, you get plus 10 golden age per turn. Now it's a bit different, but I will get into that. Like I said, it's a big change. So now that's 100%. When you have 75% happiness, no city can benefit from positive happiness for growth, and all cities suffer an additional minus 25% production towards units, minus 10% combat penalty. I think that's between 50 and 75%. So if you drop below 75%, and if you're still above 50%, then that means, I mean, if you remember before, if you get unhappiness, you get growth and penalties. And you also get minus 10% combat penalty, which in the early game is a fair bit. I just don't know how how likely it is to manage, but chances are most of your game you will be. I mean, if you do an okay job with happiness, you'll be hovering between 50 and 75%. And if you do well, you'll probably hover above 75 to 100%. I haven't played the full game yet, so I'm not sure how easy. How manageable that is. And then of course, if you, the next increment is from 25 to 50%. So there's no benefit from positive happiness for growth. Actually, let's look at that because I'm actually not quite sure. Let's see. Stagnant. I have another city. Okay. -10 food. Religious. Is it here? I just don't know what they mean by. I have 100% happiness, and they say that city can gain local. Wait, no, sorry, wrong one. City can gain local happiness or unhappiness modifiers normally. I don't quite know what that means because right now I don't see anything changing from growth. From granary? I don't have a granary yet. But this does say plus 15% population growth. So I'm assuming that when they say no city can benefit. Yeah, I actually don't quite know what that means. I just know you get a penalty. But maybe it's like granary aqueducts that will give you that amount. So between 25 and 50%, you'll get minus 50% growth and production, minus 20% combat penalty, and you can spawn rebels. And if you think barbarians are bad, rebels are worse. Because they spawn in your territory, so you don't know where they spawn, and once they start pillaging, you kind of go down the spiral. So, and then below 25%, you get minus 100% growth, minus 75% production. Rebels can spawn, cities can secede. See, one of the things that, at least for me, is if you have penalties towards production, you're gonna have a harder time digging yourself out of problems. So the game does forces you to pay attention to happiness at all times. So I'm not sure. Like, there are things like projects, but I'll get to that in a moment. And then of course for other UI, here's the new happiness. You have cities cannot produce more happiness than the number of citizens. I have 6 citizens, so I have 1 from empire-wide sources, which is from the natural wonder. 5 from handicap because I'm using settler, and 1 from luxuries and monopolies. Oh, you only get 1 now? So I only improved the spices, so that means you only get 1 happiness from luxuries. It was 2 before, but we'll see. There might still be changes. Unhappiness is listed and accrued in order of importance and cannot exceed the city's importance. So 2 from urbanization because I have 2 specialists. 1 from distress, so it's still food and hammers from, and 1 from poverty, 1 from literacy, but apparently I get 1 happiness from culture. Wait, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, 6 and then minus 1, so you get 5. Factors that increase needs. You get all of those, and then total needs. 3% modifiers. Basic needs plus 45. I don't know what the minus are. The minus 20%. So the idea is this. Like, what happens is you have priorities. So first, your citizens will worry about distress through the hammers. If they fulfill that, then they worry about poverty, gold, and then literacy, and then culture. So what happens is it's possible that late game you'll have resolved distress, poverty, and illiteracy, and you only have culture. Now, with happiness, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I think I do an okay job hovering at a decent amount, but it does depend on a number of things. And then what's this? 11. I think that means 11 citizens. So on the top you have 11 citizens, and on the left is how much unhappiness get. Because right now, even in my secondary city, it's breaking even. So my handicap is giving me 5, luxury giving me 1, and then unhappiness basically I have 1 from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1 from distress, 1 from poverty, 1 from isolation, 1 from illiteracy, 1 from boredom. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming isolation is ordered there. So first you get distress, then you have poverty, then you worry about isolation, then illiteracy, then boredom. Okay. So that's why normally you need like 3 population before you get isolation, because before that they're either worried about distress or poverty, and it's not that easy to solve those like early on. So those are the UIs. At least I think I covered most of them. Next one, there's a map. I mean, have you played the Communitas map? Then it matters. You get more land and less mountains. I don't play it, so I don't know. Okay, next, religion. This is why I have this game, because I have a great prophet, and now I can showcase a few changes that has happened. So, first, holy law. So let's go to holy law. I wish there was actually give me a moment. I wish there was an easier way for me to do things. I'm doing this on laptop, so my screen is too narrow. I have to switch between the two. So first, holy law. What happens is before what happens is like everything else stays the same except for the max is 200 followers. Now it's 250 followers. So basically, it's encouraging you to spread your religion more, so that when you unlock your policy, you'll basically benefit more from it. And the next one is ceremonial burial. Now, I do remember ceremonial burial did get a nerf at one point, so glad they recovered it. So, like, everything is the same except for the values here. Before, it was 8 faith and 8 culture for every city. Now it's 14 faith and 14 culture. So that is nice. I mean, converting 20 cities is not always the easiest. So if you have a larger scaler. Now notice this is only scaling with cities. It doesn't scale with era. And the same is about the holy law. It only scales with the number of followers, not with era. So I do see why they need a buff, because as you go to new eras, the benefits will decrease over time. Now there are certain civs that do benefit from certain founders more than others, but that's a different matter. Now, hero worship. Now, hero worship was discussed a lot because let's see. Okay, there's quite a bit of changes, but hero worship is rather interesting. Before, like, people argued that hero worship doesn't really help a warmonger, because before it gave let's see how much. At least for the last patch, it gave 60 faith and 60 golden age points on conquest, and those scale with the, they call it the city size. Let's see. Before it's receive faith and golden. Wait. Right. Okay. Before it's received 60 faith and golden age points when you conquer a city, and then bonus skills with era and city population. And the thing is, faith and golden age points aren't very useful for warmongers, so they decide to make some changes, and therefore this is their new change. So first, there's more faith and golden age points from 60 to 100, but the other one, which they hope is more important, is great general and great admiral points. Now, I mean, it is kind of good if you could get more great generals if the city is landlocked, or if, you know, great admiral if it's coastal. I mean, I do find if I am playing warmonger, since I go, okay, let's put it this way. There are certain civs that will benefit from this more, like Sweden. And I mean, Sweden, like, getting great generals is great. And this also helps Japan, where if you get great general, great admiral, you get like great artist, great writer, great musician points. For other warmongers, normally you aren't struggling with great generals and great admirals. Like, I find if you're a warmonger and you're constantly at war, you're not short. So I'm not sure if they need to adjust the value or not, because right now it's 25 great admiral and golden age points that scales with the city population and era. I'm not sure if that's too much or too little. That will probably have to be, I mean, it's new, so there probably needs to be some testing to see that amount. Hero worship at least helps a warmonger more, but I'm not sure if this amount really helps or not. Now, someone did suggest on the forum that it should be a percentage of like your current amount. So let's say you got a lot of great general points, so as a result it should give more, but I don't know. Like, it's too early to tell, but at least it's more geared towards warmongers now. Now, next one, the apostic tradition. So before, apostic tradition, originally it was basically when you increase number of followers, you get golden age points and food. Now you get culture and food, and this amount scales with the number of new followers of your religion. Right. So for example, if you convert 3, it gives, I think, 75. I think it's a direct, yeah, something like that. If you convert 5, you get 125. Early game, this is much stronger. Like, before, golden age points is okay, but I think culture might be very strong. But like I said, these are new changes. I don't know if, yeah, these are new changes, so I'm not quite sure how these will work out. And I think that's it for religions. There is a pantheon, which means I have to start a new, let's see. I mean, luckily I have this saved. So let me go to the main menu, start up a new game with India, and then, because there's also a change to 2 pantheons. Yeah, let's go that. There's actually changes to 2 pantheons. Now, one of them I'm kind of familiar with. I used it before, and the other one, I don't remember. but it is. So that's why I need to start with India, because India starts with a pantheon, so you don't have to watch me play through who knows how many turns. And then let's just do that. Doesn't matter. Okay, so the first one is God King. So God King. Before this was a +1 faith in capital, and then +1 in all of these in capital for every 6 followers. Now it's 5 followers. I'm not sure how that's gonna change up. I mean, like, the thing is, this is a very late game pantheon. Like, if you can get your religion and keep this is very strong. Like if you can play Spain, I mean, I play Spain, try to get it. It's not that strong in finding religion. You will struggle. But if you can find a religion because of how Spain's unique ability operates, you will keep your pantheon, and as a result, eventually your capital is gonna be amazing. Now the other one, wait, I think the other one is, oh, the other one is the Celts one. Here on, let's see, the other one is the Celts one. Yeah, I was like, the other one I'm not familiar. It's called Dagda. Give me a moment. Yeah, okay. It is a Celts one. So I don't know what was the original amount. I think it might be 4. So right now it's for every 3 followers. So it's kind of like God King, but for the Celts only. So that's it for religion and pantheons. And let me look at, okay, I don't want to make the video too long. I also want to pace it. I don't want like one extremely long and one not so long. Now, so there are some late game happiness removed. I don't know what is a SDI building. I actually don't know what an SDI building is. I wish they don't always use these abbreviations because some of us just don't know it. But one thing is, okay, Smithsonian. Wait, Smithsonian. Okay. So one thing is, before Stadium gave you 1 happiness. I think it's 1. So now it doesn't give any more happiness. And then remove happiness on Smithsonian. Is that the American one? This is what happens when you haven't played all the civs yet. The Smithsonian. Did they give happiness before? I don't remember. Actually, let me check. The problem is the wiki is not constantly updated because the betas change quite often. So as you can imagine, they can't always update it. So sometimes information are kind of, struggles to keep up. Okay, let me check. So looking at the wiki, if my internet could just be, yeah, before it gives 1 happiness, now it doesn't. Okay, I still don't know what SDI building is. I have no clue. And then in addition, there's also a wonder change. At least a happiness for wonder, because happiness got literally overhaul. It's kind of like what do you call it, Civ 4. I played a bit of Civ 4. Like, happiness is individual cities, but I haven't played enough to know. So before this was 2 happiness, now it's just 1. And then, yeah, that's it for buildings. I just wish I know what SDI building is. I actually have no clue. Some of these abbreviations, I mean, it says late game happiness. I don't play into the late game that much. It's usually decided or my game just, like my laptop just can't handle it. Okay, next. Okay. So there are a few things I haven't covered for happiness. I might have to start the other one. So one thing is needs modifier scale with the number of owned cities. So you get 8% for non-puppets and 4% for puppets. So, I mean, as you can see here, empire size plus 10% because I have my capital. So if I get another non-puppet, it'll be 16%. If I get another puppet, my second city is a puppet, I'll get 12%. That seems pretty harsh. But like I said, it's still too early to tell. Empire needs modifier can be reduced on a city by city basis. Walls, castles are okay. So for those of you that haven't played earlier version, at one point instead of distress, we had something called crime, which is basically the measure of the combat strength of your city. So if you place a unit to guarantee your city raising your combat strength, it actually decreases unhappiness. Or if you build walls, castles, it also decreases. So apparently now, let's look at walls. So wait, increases cities. Empire needs modifiers reduced by 5%. Okay, so I'm assuming what that means is, like for example, let's say I have two cities, so my empire size is 16%, and then if I built wall in my in my city of Delhi, then I would get 11%, unless my math is off. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, apparently walls, castle, arsenals all reduce a set amount, 5%. So if you get your walls, castle, and arsenals, you can reduce it by 15%, which is probably fairly significant. I mean, that's almost 2 owned cities. Of course, you're gonna get more than that, but this is for each individual city, so not to be neglected. And then military bases. Wow, military bases is very late. And sorry about earlier, I kicked my keyboard or desk. Military base reduces 10%. Okay, so the defensive buildings, you have 5, 5, 5. If you build all of them, you'll get 25% reduction, which is basically 3 owned cities. And you could do that for every city. I mean, it's a pretty big investment because there's also maintenance. But if you're struggling with happiness, you might need those. And of course, like I said, changes might be due, so we don't know. Wait, what? And there's also a wonder change. Where is it? Chichen Itza, or chicken pizza, as some people call it. Reduces empire needs. So not only does it reduce religious unrest by 10%, but it also reduces empire needs by 10% in all cities. That is pretty strong. That's 2 defensive buildings, but no maintenance. Because you gotta remember, these add up. Walls, castle, arsenals. There's a reason why you don't build. I mean, maybe now you have incentive. Until I get some games in, I can't say what's going to happen there. So, and then local happiness. Most happiness is a per city mechanic. Each city generates happiness as well as unhappiness. I mean, from what I see, empire happiness is luxuries and natural wonders. There might be other ones, but otherwise it's just local. Like for example, when you just look at Delhi, you have happiness and you have unhappiness. Got it. And then let's see, happiness can never be greater than your population. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Luxury. Oh, luxuries. Wait. Certain buildings. Okay, that makes sense. Certain buildings give happiness. Yep. Wait, actually, what are those? I actually don't know. I mean, the changes are pretty vast. I mean, I guess wonders. I guess they count wonders as buildings because like it gives +1 happiness to the city. I'm assuming, not empire, or not empire. Um. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, there is Circus Maximus. -1 happiness from boredom. I think it's just for the city. +2 happiness. Ah, that's interesting. That is interesting. Because from what I'm understanding is it gives you a flat 2 happiness, and then it also shaves up 1 unhappiness from your boredom. I don't think there's any other. I'm trying to remember what buildings gave happiness. I mean, they made some pretty big changes. Where is? Oh, there's Sue. Oh, I see. Yeah, some of them are changes where it's just minus. Like before, it might be decreased needs. Actually, that might be the case for all of them. Like for example, library before decreased the needs. Now it's just minus happiness from a certain illiteracy. Then market -1 happiness. Does it? No, it doesn't. Oh wait, no. Market never did that. Market just gave you gold. Um. Yeah, -1. Okay, I see. I see. So certain buildings, like before, they decrease the need for illiteracy or culture or distress or whatever. Now they just give like a minus unhappiness from that. I don't know how it works. Like for example, actually no, this. Yeah, I'm getting confused, but you get the idea. Before the buildings might decrease by a certain amount, like a percentage for the needs. Now it's just a flat out -1. Luxuries. It scales with city population. It says it's not a 1-to-1, but gaining new luxuries does increase the potency of the scaling in a linear fashion. So expand. Wow. So now why? Okay, that might explain why earlier when I was showing the other game, I only got 1 happiness. So if say I, you know, improve these, then it might not quite be. It's not quite linear, but it's close to linear. I believe it's just some function where you effectively like it's close to linear, but you need more luxuries to make it linear. Actually, it might not even be. Yeah, I don't know how it works, but basically now if you get more luxuries, it will be stronger, which I do like. Policies. Ooh, how do policies change? I mean, with happiness change, everything changes. So before equality, it's like actually that's a pretty big change. I think that is discussed in policies. Yeah, okay, but let's talk about it now. Equality now gives 1 local happiness for every 8 citizen in the city. Before it was 12 global. So this is a very weird change because it doesn't quite equate the two. Before it's like looking at your empire, you have 12 pop, you get 1 happiness. Now is if your city gets a population, like let's say I keep playing as India, I go progress and then I get 8 population in Delhi, then I'm gonna get +1 happiness from I guess policies. If I get 60, I'll get +2. I mean, you get the idea. So you actually don't benefit if your cities are too small. That is interesting. And then unhappiness needs modifiers from everything reduced by 5%. Wait, unhappiness needs modifiers. That's one thing I'm kind of okay. Is capital city size basic needs city percent modifiers. City percent modifier. Okay, I wait. Total needs modifiers, city percent modifiers, minus 20%. Oh, okay, I get it now. So I'm not okay. City percent modifiers. I think right now I'm getting minus 20% because I'm on settler. So on higher difficulties, you might just have 0% for that. So what ends up happening is your basic needs is plus 33%, plus 33%, plus 0%, plus 33, plus 33. You get the idea. And I'm assuming that it modifies this amount, so you have minus 5% from that. I'm assuming it. It doesn't say empire, so I'm assuming it's the bottom, the total needs modifier. Well, the city percent modifier. So in the brackets, let's say if you have nothing else, I'm assuming that you will have minus 5% in all cities, which does add up. And on the topic of policies, divine rights. Minus divine rights is where is it here? 25% of happiness produced in each city is added to the city's culture. So before it's like the empire happiness, now it's each individual city happiness. Unhappiness needs modifiers for that. Okay, that will be the city, I think, produced by 10%. Let's see, 25% of the city's produced happiness. This is not delta. Oh, okay, I get it. So, what happens is, let's say I have a happiness of 8. Let's say I have a happiness of 8 and unhappiness of 7. If it's delta, 25%, if it's delta, I will be calculating 25% of 8 minus 7, which would be 1. So that'd be only 0.25. But since it's happiness, since I have 8, 25% will give me 2. So that'd be 2 culture. Okay, I get what they mean by delta now. And then, okay, that's converted to culture each turn. Got it. So, let's see. Minor civ happiness. Right. I mean, there's city state happiness. I think that's. I actually don't know. Oh man, this is a situation where. See, the thing is, I don't know if the mercantile gives empire or local. It's probably empire. Local doesn't make sense. I mean, which city do they benefit? It should be empire. So just like natural wonders. So that does mean that if you don't maintain it, it's gonna hurt you more because it's gonna affect all the cities. Like if you lose an alliance or friend, wow, that might have a pretty big impact. World Congress. World Congress. Happiness? I don't remember anything from World Congress. Vassals, I don't know how vassals. Events, I don't do events. City connections for sure, because that's isolation. I'm actually not sure about World Congress. I don't remember any resolutions that boost happiness. I mean, they might indirectly by giving you boosts. Like for example, endowment for the arts. No, that still doesn't help. I mean, like for example, some of them give you more yields. Like landmarks get more yields, world wonders get more yields. I guess those will combat directly. I guess that's what they mean by World Congress. Vassals, I haven't played with vassals for a long time, so I don't know if they give happiness. I know they give like science, culture, gold, happiness. I don't know. It's been a while. And right now, empire unhappiness. So not city individually, but something that, just as natural wonder gives you one happiness, these will give you unhappiness. Source of unhappiness that will affect all the city. Oh, wait, spread across your city as an average. The remainder goes to capital. So 6 on. Wait. So is that the case for? Okay, both are average. So regardless if it's empire or happiness or unhappiness, it's the average. So if you have 4 cities and you have 6 happiness, then that means you'll get 1 happiness per city and 2 extra for the capital. And if you have 6 unhappiness, wow, that's a lot. Then you'll get -1 unhappiness for all the cities and 2 extra for the capital. Okay, that makes sense. So one source is war weariness. You fight wars, your war weariness goes up. It's gonna affect it. Of course, it's gonna have to see what happens. I mean, I have to calculate like finding the delta between empire unhappiness and empire happiness. Public opinion. Don't know what that is. There's a public opinion? Is this related to? I actually don't know what public opinion is. That is okay. Public works is something new. I'll discuss it in a moment. But public opinion. Oh, okay. I'm so stupid. So I'm so stupid. Yes, public opinion is tied to ideology. I'm like, what's public opinion? Right, ideology. Sorry, just being stupid. So the public opinion for ideology will be an empire. Makes sense, since it affects all your cities. In the city, unhappy citizens equals happiness minus unhappiness. If happiness is greater, this counts as 0 for the city. Oh, okay, I see. So unhappy citizens is, wait, what? Why is that math so weird? If happiness, I think they did it backwards. Unhappy citizens should be unhappiness minus happiness. But I mean, the idea is if you have more happiness than unhappiness, then you won't get unhappy citizens. If it's the reverse, then you will. So I guess that affects the city? I just don't know how unhappy. Oh, okay, global happiness. Global happiness is unhappy citizens times 100 divided by total population. Okay, I see. So you also get a global happiness. So if you maintain it well so that you don't have unhappy citizens, this will be 0. Wait. Oh, now I see why they reversed it. So if your happiness is greater than unhappiness, your unhappy citizens will be a positive integer. So positive integer times 100 divided by total population, you'll get a positive value. Whereas if your unhappiness is greater, you'll get a negative integer. So negative integer times 100 divided by total population, you'll get a negative number. Got it. Sorry, just had to do some math on the go, which I'm not stellar, I can tell you now. Okay, buildings. All non-wonder buildings that used to get percentage needs, yeah, now give a flat. So for library, it gives a -1 unhappiness from illiteracy. And wonders give 10% reduction, was 5%. But I think that's not. Is that for? I mean, let's look at this. All cities. Okay, I guess I had to specify. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, okay. Unhappiness needs for poverty reduced. Okay, it will specify if it's all cities. I think it's normally all cities. That's wonders. Okay. How did I skip something? Okay, now let's go to projects. So there's something called public works. I think there's only public works, right? Yeah. So public works, it's unlocked and machinery. It's kind of like a panic button. So what happens is it reduces the need modifier for everything by 10% just in the city. So you could build it in any city, and what happens is it's repeatable, but the cost increases by 100 hammers every time you constructed this. So you can repeat this. This is kind of like culture and gold. Basically, it's just constant, but it does increase the gold maintenance. So if you have plenty of gold and you have unhappiness problems, this is not bad. And you do have to take into account that it increases by 100 for every era. So sometimes, let's say for example, I go to medieval era. Let's say I'm playing China. I go to machinery to get my unique unit. I might want to build this in all of my cities while it's still cheap. Because once it gets to Renaissance era, even if I haven't built it before, it's already 100 hammer more expensive. So I might want to build it and take advantage of medieval era. Like there is an incentive to build it early if you need it. I mean, sometimes because of the cost, it might be better if you build it early, because 100 hammers. I mean, a crossbow is 107 hammers. This starts at 200 hammers. So it's basically about twice as long as crossbow. But as you can imagine, if you go to the next era, it'll be 4 times. So there might be an incentive to build the first one early on, and then like it's a panic button. I mean, the maintenance do add up, so you do have to watch out for that. Okay, so that is a panic button. If you really need happiness, it will help a lot. And if you have production heavy cities and you need to deal with happiness, it's not bad. Like one situation I can really think of is when you annex a capture city that has a large pop. You got a core house, you still have a lot of unhappiness, and the city has good production. You build a couple of these public works, and boom, it's suddenly that city is actually viable. So it actually helps warmongers, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. So let's see. So right now, landmarks. I'm not gonna show this, but you understand landmarks, which you get from archaeologists with archaeological digs. You can get an artifact or landmarks. If you get landmarks, you'll get +1 happiness to every city. Before, it was just +2 happiness to the capital, but that was empire, so it functions differently. But now there is more incentive for landmarks, because I think the yields have went up, and now you also get happiness, which with this, it might be important. I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of late game, so there's a lot to see. And then next one. Okay, let me start a new game and set something up, because there is something I want to see personally. I do need an advanced setup. Okay, let's go Venice. I can find Venice. I forgot what's his name. There. And then let's go to. Actually, no, this doesn't help. Okay, let me just explain it. So for Venice, before they have a 20% great merchant bonus from puppets. Now it's just gone, and puppets just have the ability to generate happiness. So that's interesting. And then for submarines, they